You're in tune to the meeting of the inner circle, and I thank you for being right where you are in this now moment of eternity. At the top of the hour, we started out with Jack Ghetto by the House of Urban Grooves, followed by Woman First by Kindred and the. I can't read that, my writing. I'm so sorry. Kindred and the Family Soul. And then Black Butterfly by Denise Williams, and then Changing Woman by Fertile Ground. And then we had So Love by Kendrick. And then Diane Reeves Testify. For those of you who are tuning into the meeting of the Inner Circle for the very first time, we welcome you and pray that you find the inspiration to meet me here every Thursday night, midnight to 6 a.m. until further notice. And for those of you who are tuning via the World Wide Web at wrfg.org, thank you for caring to be with us than any other place on the planet. And for those of you who are using your phone apps towards your greater good, I'm so thankful that you are that wise. And for those of you who are the inner circle, the ones who make sure that you're always attuned to this frequency at this appointed hour, I am so grateful for you. And for those of you who support WRFG with your financial donations and understand that you don't really prosper when you think that you can get something for nothing, because we're always in a give and take. And that's just the order of life itself. We're having to inhale and exhale. And the trees and the plants, everything benefits from what we are exhaling, and we have the benefit to take in what they're giving off. So it's always a give and take. We have absolute life. We have life to teach us how to be, and we should be as it is, consistently growing, consistently moving, consistently reaching, consistently unfolding, ever expanding. We are in a now moment of eternity that requires us to really care, to be all that we are in life, and to know that life is our greatest gift. We'll never have anything greater. And I am so grateful and so thankful on behalf of the lineages that I represent to be celebrating my solar return on this day, and to give thanks for my parents and that which they came together in bringing me forward. And I consciously care to live, to honor, and be a glory unto them. I consciously care to live the quality of life and the substance of life that is beneficial to all of those that have the opportunity to hear me and to know me. And for those who would never know me but will be benefited by you because you were touched in a way. And I am so grateful and so thankful for all of us who are sharing this now moment of eternity, because we are so absolutely gifted and so blessed to be sharing this now moment, because we have so much duty, obligation, and responsibility to respond to create heaven on earth, to know that the earth is already in heaven. And the intelligence of existence is so intelligent that it has created absolutely all of us, everything. And it's wise enough to always do what's in its own best interest. Now is our turn to be so wise, to be so caring, to be so diligent, to be so consistent as our breath and our heartbeat, in loving and lifting and caring, to be uplifting, enriching, enhancing. Because when it comes time to leave, and that time is rapidly approaching for everybody, that we've come to the earth, not just to live and die, but we've come to the earth to have the experience of being immersed in all the realms all at one time. Because when we leave the earth, we'll no longer be in the realm of materiality. But right now we're in the realm of materiality, corporeality. We have the ability to create, to manifest, to focus on a thing and see it, and facilitate bringing all of the component parts together so that it can be manifested. Living upon the planet is our opportunity to really learn how to create as co-creators with life. And it would have been such a wonderful thing had we learned how to create, and we were properly oriented from the beginning of our lives. And because we didn't get that program, we didn't get that kind of cultivation, we didn't get that proper orientation. And there are consequences to what we were given in our miseducation, in the lies that we were given in terms of the 4 food groups and what we should be eating. And now we're paying the price. Our children are paying the price. Our grandchildren are paying the price of the illogic and the nonsense and the propaganda and the commercialism. And we, in this now moment, have opportunity to right it all, to do the damage control so that we have the opportunity to really experience the healing, the clearing, the cleansing, the purification, so that we can be whole. But there are so many ones who feel entitled to be dying that we have to realize that some people you just cannot help. You just won't be able to help them because they are not in a proper mindset to take responsibility to help themselves. And we have each been given so much faculty to really care. You understand? To see that if you're going the wrong way and you see that you're going the wrong way, you will stop and either get directions, get instructions, turn around. You understand? But there are certain ones who are going the wrong way, and it's like they don't care that they're going the wrong way. And these are people that we know, we love, we are meeting every day. And I'm just saying to us is that when you really care, you have to do what's in your own best interests. You understand? You cannot really save people who really are not trying to be saviors unto themselves. And many of the questions that I get is, well, how do we impact the masses? You understand? And so in order to really impact the masses, the individuals have to be in a place where you care to be powerful to impact the masses. You understand? We could hold a collective vision of masses of people being given the vision of the light and the truth of themselves. You know, it's not beyond our capability to touch masses of people, because masses of people are being touched through media and movies and music and all of that all the time. The issue is those of us who have done our inner work to be in a place where we are truly representing that which is light, that which is right, to really be the example for the right path of life. You understand? As opposed to just being controversial because we have a different perspective. But when those who care to be in light commit their talent, skills, and abilities to allowing the light to be exemplified through all media, and know that that's our collective duty, obligation, and responsibility, and none of us can really have a global impact by ourselves. And so those of you who have been listening to the kind of programming that WRFG brings so that you have a better perspective, but also listening to this program so that you are being inspired and motivated to know what to do to reclaim your health and your life and your wealth, which is in yourself. Because a lot of people are looking at the government, we're looking at the economy, we're looking at money, we're looking at all of these things as if dealing with any one of these things would be sufficient, but none of them are sufficient without each individual one being properly oriented in exalting a full life's urge, in loving life with your whole body, heart, mind, and soul, in being in a place and space where it matters to us to live, to be in a place where we are no longer allowing ourselves to be employed in doing things that don't need to be done. See, the system does not work itself. The system works because people get up and go to work in its behalf. And if there was a greater thought and the right alignment with the purposes of life, then we could make the system work towards the greater good if we who are individuals are working towards the greater good. But when we have been socialized and educated and religiously trained to feel entitled to do whatever we can do to make a dollar without being properly oriented in the purpose of being, then we have exactly what's showing up, where people are careless and they really do not understand how the laws work in terms of them working every day in lawlessness and applying their time, their talent, their energies, their skills, and their abilities towards doing that which undermines the right of other ones to have their lives, whether it's the military, whether it's the Food and Drug Administration, whether it's the United Dairy Council, any aspect. You understand? You have those who are raising the animals, those who are killing the animals, those who are chopping them up and shooting them up and making their flesh available to people, and those who are packaging them, and those who are distributing it. You understand? Each way, there are people who are working that makes the system of disease and death and all of that so prevalent. We're in a now moment where we have to really do what's ours so that we are no longer undermined by it, but that we also are doing that which gives us leverage over it, to come to a point in place where we know that as men, the progenitor of lineages, and as womb men, the perpetuator of lineages, that we're here to exalt life. We're here to stand on behalf of life, all of life. And these people have taught us that the lives of these ones are not as valuable. The lives of these ones, we can do whatever we'd like to do with them, that they do not have the right to their lives. We have the right to oppress them, suppress them, subjugate them, dope them up, shoot them up, cut them up, and then serve their body parts to people. And because a lot of people are not thinking about it from that perspective, they're not understanding that when we were instructed not to kill, it included the animals too. And so Africa has been devastated because Africans allowed the devastation of their creatures. And where we do not respect the sanctity and the sacredness of life itself, then we do not have the benefit and the blessedness of having that quality of care and attention. And these people have us where, the dogs and the cats are protected. You understand? You just can't abuse the dogs and the cats because they love their dogs and their cats. You understand? But the other animals don't have much protection. And then the millions of animals that have been killed and are consistently hunted so that the cows are protected. We have to realize that at the foundation of so much of the ill is the degradation and the violation of other beings, or what many of us refer to as speciesism, where we support the violation and we feel as though humanity and humankind have the right to undermine the right of other ones to have their lives, whether it's the cows or the pigs or the chickens or the turkeys or the dolphin or the sharks or the tunas or the swordfish. It doesn't even matter. Every creature is under siege. And this is creating serious imbalances in the world because people have not created a greater way of living than the laws of life. And when you see people who really do not look like they feel well, sometimes you see people who look well, but they're not well. They look like they're well, but they're not really well. And a lot of them don't feel well. And then you have those who feel pretty good, but they're not really well either. And then you have those who really look like and that they're not well, and you can see that they're not well. And all of this is because everything that we have been influenced by has influenced us towards illness, being out of alignment with that which promotes harmony in our being. That's illness. And so, on a practical basis, just a practical everyday reality, how do we live? What do you do on a daily basis to really honor life? To honor your life, but to honor all of life. And the more we are conscientious and thoughtful and mindful that duty, obligation, and responsibility as living beings is to exalt life. And this is what many of these ones have missed. It's not rocket science. It is more simple than most people can possibly imagine. And that all of the illness, the cancer and the diabetes, every disease has become a multi-billion-dollar institution under its own name. And then they have you walking to raise money for the research. And the research never comes to a point of really instituting anything that makes sense in terms of realizing that all of the disease is coming as a result of the body temple being assaulted with the decay and decomposition of carcasses, and the alcohol and the tobacco and the sugar and all of these man-made things that have no business in the human body. And to be in a place where women who have been under this system go to the hospitals now to have their children, to deliver their babies, and then the babies are being shot up with things that are delaying their mental and their cognitive development. We have to come to a point and place where we realize that we have been authorized by the intelligence of existence to be able to perpetuate our lineages without poisoning ourselves or them. And we do not have to be certified, licensed, and degreed to exalt life and to be in the integrity of who and what we are as men and women, mothers and fathers, grandmothers and grandfathers, sons and daughters, grandsons and granddaughters, that we have duty, obligation, and responsibility to exalt our lineages and to exalt life and to know what is the problem and to be able to do something about it. We do not have to consult with the murderers, the liars, the thieves, the capitalists, and whatnot to get their permission to stand in the light of the truth of who we are. The issue is, what are you afraid of? And where you don't consciously care to be empowered to make a difference in this life, then you will not ever gain it. And if you will not do what's in your own best interest to clear and cleanse your cells from 20, 30, 40, 50 years of nitrates and nitrites and preservatives and antibiotics and hormones and artificial colors and artificial flavors and aspartame and white sugar residues and all of this stuff, then you will never be in the position to be empowered to walk in the truth of yourself. And that's what the whole energy of oppression is, to put you in place where you are never able to be in your own authenticity. Because when you are literally aligned with the truth of yourself, you cannot be oppressed by somebody else. The system does not work against you. You understand? There are no men that could work against you when you do nothing to undermine yourself. And for all of the ones who have lost their children to the crime and the violence in the streets, there was criminality and crime happening at home in the assault of these children's bodies with all of this garbage. And yes, if we had enough lawyers, and perhaps we could do class action lawsuits and claim crimes against humanity. But the reality of it is that each individual one of us is still responsible and accountable to the intelligence that beats our hearts and breathes us. And that where our spirits are acknowledging that we have been wrong, that we have been out of alignment, then it is for you to exalt a full care to be realigned in the truth and the light of yourself. Because nobody can do for you what you will not do for yourself. And when you will not do that, that is required in realigning yourself, in bringing back the harmony and balance of every fiber of your being with life itself, then you are not able to truly be attractive or magnetizing yourself towards the greater, whether it's a greater marriage or greater resources or better job or what. The bottom line is that every good thing that you could get, that you could attain and acquire, is still going to be based upon your right alignment and your right thought and your right action with that which is light and love and wisdom and truth. There are so many ones who have so many thoughts about what we need to do, and so many ones who are thinking that we have to do things the way that these ones have done it. We don't need a military. You understand? Because we have law. The law, in our alignment with it, allows us to be in the grace and the protection of it. But people are in a place where you have a greater regard for the tools of the Satanists and the Luciferians and the wicked ones, the devil ones, the government. You understand? Those who have led the people astray, those who presented themselves as the wolves in sheep's clothing, and they're leading the people to slaughter. You understand? And the people are following as if they have no real sense of who it is they're following. All the time, they're talking Jesus, but they're following the devil, the forces of divisiveness. So each one of us has duty, obligation, and responsibility to life itself. And where we worship one part of life or one aspect of life and not the whole thing, then we do not have the fullness of what we should have in terms of perspective and perception and understanding and understanding and our wholeness. We're in a now moment that requires us to be able to respond correctly and directly to being under a world-conquering rampage that is depopulation and genocide. And there's no way to really respond correctly if you are following the same principles and practices of those who are murderers and liars and thieves. We can't defend ourselves using guns and drone attacks and military and all of that. You understand, this is not about arming yourselves with guns and this and that and fighting somebody back when you are a detriment to yourself. You're eating all the wrong things. You're drinking, you're smoking, you're creating a condition that is literally filth within your own body temple, where your spirit dwells, where you dwell in that body temple. Your body temple is your first home. That's where you live. And where you keep your car really clean, You understand? You're always putting things in the tank to clean the injectors and to clean this and clean that. But you have to do even greater for your body, Temple, in order for you to walk in the fullness of yourself. When you are being oppressed by a system of oppression, then wisdom is being in that place where you do nothing to oppress yourselves, or you are actively involved in liberating yourselves and yourself with your activities on a daily basis. But we cannot yell offensive and guilty to these ones and those ones and then not take responsibility for what we have created within ourselves and within our families and our children in terms of the degrees of ill health and ill will and divisiveness and sickness. There is no wealth and richness or riches in a people who are dying when you are already immersed in eternity. To live a life that perpetuates sickness, illness, disease, and death, and generate a livelihood that perpetuates sickness, illness, disease, and death, to invest in products that facilitate sickness, illness, disease, and death, to legislate and sign off on businesses that perpetuate sickness, illness, disease, and death, is going to create a tremendous harvest of more sickness, illness, disease, and death. And you have a choice now as to how you will participate in your life on behalf of life, on behalf of the lineages that you represent, on behalf of your children, your grandchildren. You have a choice as to whether you will continue to be complicit and complacent with your own cellular oppression, or whether you will choose life on a daily basis, exalt a full life's urge, and be completely healed and made whole, to be revivified, regenerated, rejuvenated, and stand on behalf of life itself. It's your time. And I'm here to help you. You're in tune to the meeting of the inner circle, and this is Adama, your voice of resurrection and heraldess of the eternal.